Hey champs of ExamsNet, welcome to the question series of ExamsNet. I hope this series of detailed explanation is helping you a lot. Let's start this session. Here is a question. X belongs to R and under root of modulus of x square minus 2 into modulus of x minus 8 upon log of 2 minus x square is a real number, then it is equal to. Means we have to find the range for the given question. So it is given that it is a real number. Since it is a real number, so let us take x is equal to 1. If x is equal to 1, then it becomes under root of 1 square minus 2 into 1 minus 8 upon log of 2 minus 1 square. So numerator will be under root of minus 9 and denominator will be infinity. Since it is infinity means it cannot be defined. It cannot be defined means there are no possible values for x here. So there are no possible values or no particular range for this given function. If we put any other values or any other real numbers, then we will get a undefined answer. Therefore, we can say that there are no values. It means answer is 5, means null. So option number B is the correct option for this question. Next question is the domain of the real valued function f of x is equal to sine of log of under root 4 minus x square upon 1 minus x is. We have to find the domain for the given function. It means that under root of 4 minus x square upon 1 minus x square will be greater than 0 since we have to find its domain. So it implies that under root 4 minus x square is greater than 0 and 1 minus x is also greater than 0. So from here we can say that x square will be less than 4 and x will be less than 1. So x will be belonging to minus 2 and plus 2. So let us see it on the number line. This is minus 2 and this is plus 2 and this is 1. Since x is less than 1, then it means that x should be in this particular area, which is x should be between minus 2 and 1. Because since it is clear that x is less than 1, then this is the area for x and the area is between minus 2 and 1. So we can say that x will belong to minus 2 and 1. Therefore, out of all the options, option number C is correct, which is minus 2 and 1. Next question is, if matrix A is equal to 2, minus 3, minus 4, 1, then A transpose whole square plus 12A whole transpose is equal to. It is a very interesting question that comes from matrix. First, let us find A transpose. So A transpose will be, rows will be changed into columns and column will be changed into rows. So it will be 2 minus 3 minus 4 and 1. Now we have to calculate the A transpose whole square. A transpose whole square means 2 minus 4 minus 3 1 multiplied by 2 minus 3 minus 4 and 1. So on further solving this, it will be equals to 4 plus 12 minus 8 minus 4 minus 6 minus 3 and 12 plus 1. So on further solving, A transpose whole square will be equal to 16 minus 9 minus 12 and 13. Now we have to find 12A transpose. So 12A transpose will be 12 into A transpose and A transpose is 2 minus 3 minus 4 and 1. So 12A transpose will be equal to 24 minus 48 minus 36 and 12. Now we have to find the sum of both these values, which is we have to find A transpose whole square plus 12A transpose. We have both the values here. So let us add both the values. On adding both the values, it will be 16 minus 12 minus 9 and 13 plus 24 minus 36 minus 48 and 12. On adding both these values, we will get 16 plus 24 is 40, minus 12 minus 48 is minus 60, minus 9 minus 36 is minus 45, and 13 plus 12 is 25. So this is the required value for the given matrix. Therefore, we can say that option number D is the correct option here. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is, if A, B, C are respectively the 5th, 8th and 13th terms of an arithmetic progression, that is AP, then determinant of A, B, C, 5, 8, 13, 1, 1 and 1 is equal to. So first, let us solve this determinant. On expanding this determinant, it will be A into 8 minus 13 minus 5 into B minus C plus 1 into 13B minus 8C. On further solving this, it will be minus 5A minus 5B plus 5C plus 13B minus 8C. It will be equals to minus 5A plus 8B minus 3C. Let this be equation number 1. This is the value of the given determinant. Now, some values are given in the question, which is T5 is equal to A, T8 is equal to B, and T13 is equal to C. Means the 5th term is A, the 8th term is B, and the 13th term is C. We know a formula which is Tn, it will be equals to A plus n minus 1 into D. Here we will put A is equal to T1, just to not get confused, because you can see that here also the values are in the form of T. So let A is equal to T1 here. Therefore, T5 becomes T1 plus 4D. T8 becomes T1 plus 7D. And T13 becomes T1 plus 12D. Also, it is given that T5 is equal to A, T8 is equal to B, and T13 is equal to C. So substituting these values in equation 1, we will get equation 1 is minus 5A plus 8B minus 3C. Substituting this value, we will get minus 5 into T1 plus 4D plus 8 into T1 plus 7D minus 3 into T1 plus 12D. I hope this step is clear to you. You can see that in both this part, the LHS are equal. It means that from here, A will be equals to T1 plus 4D, B will be equals to T1 plus 7D, and C will be equals to T1 plus 12D. So on further solving this, we will get minus 5T1 minus 20D plus 8T1 plus 56D minus 3T1 minus 36D. On further solving, it will be minus 8T1 plus 8T1 plus 56D minus 56D. So minus 8T1 and plus 8T1 will be 0, plus 56D and minus 56D will be 0. So the value of the given determinant is 0. Therefore, we can say that from all the options here, option number A is correct, which is 0. Next question is, if matrix A is equal to 1, 0, 0, A minus 1, 0, and B, C, and 1 is such that A square is equal to I. It is given that A square is equal to I. Then we have to find that which of the following options are correct according to the given matrix. We know that A square can be written as A into A, and we know that I is a identity matrix. Now putting the values for A into A, it will be 1, 0, 0, A minus 1, 0, B, C, and 1, into again matrix A, which is 1 0 0, A minus 1 0, and B C N 1. This is equal to I, which is identity matrix 1 0 0, 0 1 0, and 0 0 1. Now, on further multiplying the left hand side, we will get 1 0 0. A minus A will be also 0, 1 0, and the third term will be B plus AC plus B. Now the second term will be 0 and the third term will be 1. This is equal to the identity matrix 1 0 0, 0 1 0, and 0 0 1. You can see that only there is one term here except all are 1 and 0. And the term is B plus AC plus B. Since both the matrices are equal, therefore the term which is B plus AC plus B will be equals to 0 according to the condition. So this is equal to 0. Now it will be 2B plus AC is equal to 0. So from here B will be minus AC upon 2. This is the required condition for the given matrix. Therefore, we can say that the correct option is B is equal to minus AC upon 2, which is option number B here. See, it was a very, very simple question. Next question is, let A is equal to, again a matrix is given, which is minus 2, x, 1, x, 1 and 1, 2, 3 and minus 1. If the roots of the equation determinant A is equal to 0 are L and M, then L cube minus M cube is. So first, let us find the determinant for A. Determinant for A will be by finding the expansion. So the determinant of A will be written as minus 2 x 1, x 1 and 1, 2, 3 and minus 1. Now on further expanding it, it becomes minus 2 into minus of minus 3 minus x into minus x minus 2 plus 1 into 3x minus 2. It will be equals to minus 2 into minus 4 minus x into minus x minus 2 plus 3x minus 2. On further solving, it will be 8 plus x square plus 2x plus 3x minus 2, which is equals to x square plus 5x plus 6. Now it is given that the determinant of A is equal to 0. And this is the value for determinant. So the value is equal to 0, which is x square plus 5x plus 6. It is equal to 0. Now, by splitting the middle term, we have to find the factors for this given equation. So the middle term can be splitted as 2x plus 3x and plus 6 is equal to 0. Taking x common, it will be x plus 2. And from other two terms, taking plus 3 common, it will be x plus 2 is equal to 0. So the factors are x plus 2 and x plus 3 is equal to 0. So the value for x will be minus 3 and the value for x will be minus 2. These are the two values for x. We know that L and M are the roots of the equation. It means that L and M both satisfy the equation. So from here we can say that L will be minus 3 and M will be minus 2. Or we can also say that M will be minus 3 or L will be minus 2. Now we have to find the value for L cube minus M cube. So let us find the value for L cube minus M cube. L cube minus M cube will be, see, taking this values, L is equal to minus 2 and M is equal to minus 3. It will be minus 2 whole cube minus minus 3 whole cube. Now all we have to do is find the cube of 2 and 3. So it will be minus of 8 plus of 27. Minus 8 plus 27 is 19. Therefore, we can say that the value for L cube minus M cube is 19. So the correct answer here is option number C, which is 19. Next question is a very, very simple question. Multiplicative inverse of the complex number sine theta and cos theta is. We have to find the multiplicative inverse. We know that from complex number z of x comma y is equal to x plus iy. Here, suppose z is equal to sine theta plus I cos theta. Here x is sine theta and y is cos theta. Now, multiplicative inverse for z is given as z inverse, which is 1 upon z. This is the basic formula for multiplicative inverse for z. Here z is equal to sine theta plus I cos theta. So here multiplicative inverse will be equals to 1 upon sine theta plus I cos theta. On rationalizing it, it will be multiplied by sine theta minus I cos theta and divided by sine theta minus I cos theta. Now, on further multiplying, it will be equals to sine theta minus I cos theta divided by a plus b and a minus b. So it will be sine square theta minus I square cos square theta. Now, we know that in complex number, I square is equal to minus 1. So the terms becomes sine theta minus I cos theta divided by sine square theta plus cos square theta. We also know that sine square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So the remaining term will be sine theta minus I cos theta. This is the multiplicative inverse for the given trigonometric terms sine theta and cos theta. Therefore, we can say that the correct option here is sine theta and minus of cos theta. So the correct option is option number B here. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is summation of k is equal to 0, I power k is equal to x plus iy, which is also equals to x to the power 100 plus x to the power 99 into y plus x to the power 242 into y square plus x to the power 97 into y cube is equal to. See, we have to find the value for x and y in order to solve this given expression. So first, let us write the term which is given in question, which is summation of k is equal to 0 to 44 I to the power k is equal to x plus iy. Now, we know that here I to the power k can be written as I power 0 plus I power 1 plus I square plus so on up to I power 44. And this is equal to x plus iy. You can see that this is forming a series. So it can be written as a series which is I plus I square plus I cube plus I power 4 plus so on. It is equal to 0. We know that I square is equal to minus 1. So the series will be I minus 1 plus 1 minus I. So it will be again 0 only, because you can see wherever I square will become, there will become minus 1. So the numbers will be cancelled. So its value is 0. Only one I will remain, which is single I. Only this I will remain on solving this particular equation. Therefore, we can say that I power 0 is equal to x plus iy. See, all the other terms becomes 0 eventually. So we can say that 1 plus 0i is equal to x plus iy. So here on comparing, x will be equals to 1 and y will be equals to 0. Now we have to find the value for x to the power 100 plus x to the power 99 into y plus x to the power 242 into y square plus x to the power 97 into y cube. So on putting the value of x and y here, x is 1, 1 power 100 is 1. So 1 power 100 plus y is 0, so this term becomes 0. Similarly, here also y is 0, so this term also becomes 0 and last term also becomes 0. So the answer for this expression is 1 only. Therefore, we can say that the correct option is option number D here. Next question is, a true statement among the following identities is. There are so many identities in trigonometry, but out of these options, we have to find that which is the correct identity. So first, let us see the first option. The first option is sine 5 theta is equal to 16 cos power 4 theta into sine theta minus 12 cos square theta into sine theta plus sine theta. We have to prove both the parts, which is LHS and RHS. So first let us take LHS. Here LHS is sine 5 theta. Sine 5 theta can be written as sine 4 theta plus theta. Now applying the formula for sine A plus B, it will be equals to sine A, which is sine 4 theta cos theta plus cos 4 theta sine theta. Again, applying the formula for sine 2 theta, we know that sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. So sine 4 theta will be equals to 2 sine 2 theta into cos 2 theta into again cos theta plus cos 4 theta can be written as 2 cos square 2 theta minus 1 into sine theta. See, we know that cos 2 theta is equal to 2 cos square theta minus 1. So cos 4 theta will be equals to 2 cos square 2 theta minus 1 and into sine theta is present. Now taking 2 common, again putting the formula for sine 2 theta, it becomes 2 sine theta cos theta into again cos 2 theta can be written as 2 cos square theta minus 1 into a cos theta is remaining, so cos theta plus taking 2 common, again this will be 2 cos square theta minus 1 whole square and minus 1 into sine theta. On further solving this, it becomes 4 cos square theta into sine theta and in bracket there is 2 cos square theta minus 1. Now plus 2 into 4 cos power 4 theta plus 1 minus 4 cos square theta minus 1. See, this minus 1 is outside only. And again sine theta is remaining. Now on further solving, it becomes 8 cos power 4 theta into sine theta minus 4 cos square theta into sine theta plus 8 cos 4 theta into sine theta minus, see I am writing it downside, so minus 8 cos square theta into sine theta plus sine theta, minus minus will be plus. So you can see that 8 cos power 4 theta sine theta plus 8 cos power 4 theta sine theta is 16 cos power 4 theta into sine theta minus 4 cos square theta sine theta and minus 8 cos square theta sine theta will be 12 cos square theta sine theta and plus 1 sine theta is remaining. So when we are solving LHS, then this is the value for RHS. So let us check in the first equation. The RHS is 16 cos power 4 theta into sine theta minus 12 cos square theta into sine theta plus sine theta. And this is only the exact value which we have solved and we have finally found. So we can say that statement 1 is absolutely correct because LHS proves the RHS. Therefore, option A is correct for this question. Next question is, if f of 0 is equal to 0, where f of x is equal to x square plus ax plus b and b is not equal to 0, then a plus b is equal to. It is given that f of f of 0 is equal to 0. So first let us find f of 0. F of 0 will be equals to 0 square plus a into 0 plus b. So f of 0 will be equals to b. On putting the value here, f of b will be equals to 0. So let us find f of b. F of b will be equals to b square plus ab plus b. Since it is equal to 0, so b square plus ab plus b is equal to 0. Taking b common, the remaining terms will be b plus a plus 1 is equal to 0. Now there are two conditions. Either b is equal to 0 or b plus a plus 1 is equal to 0. But in the question, it is clearly given that b is not equal to 0. It means that the other term, which is b plus a plus 1, is equal to 0. So from here, we can say that a plus b will be equals to minus 1. So the correct option for this question is option number C here. Next question is the sum of the real roots of the equation mod of x minus 2 whole square plus mod of x minus 2 minus 2 is equal to 0 is. We have to find the sum of the real roots. So let f of x is equals to mod of x minus 2. If f of x is equal to mod of x minus 2, then when x is greater than 2, f of x is equal to x minus 2. And when x is less than 2, f of x will be 2 minus x. Thus, for x is greater than 2, the equation becomes x minus 2 whole square plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. On further solving, it is x square minus 3x is equal to 0. Therefore, the root of this equation is x is greater than 2 is 3. The root of the equation is 3. Now, similarly, for x is greater than 2, the equation becomes x minus 2 whole square plus 2 minus x minus 2. See, in the first step, we have found the equation for x is greater than 2. And now we are finding the equation for x is less than 2. This is equal to 0. On further solving, it will be x square minus 5x plus 4 is equal to 0. On finding the factors by splitting the middle term method, the factors are x minus 4 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now, the root which is less than 2 is 1 here. So we will take x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x will be 1 because we know that x is less than 2. So x will be equals to 1. Now you can see that the one root is 3 and another root is 1. We have to find the sum of the roots. Sum of the roots will be 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4. Therefore, we can say that the sum of the roots of this equation is 4. So option number A is the correct option here. Next question is, if the difference between the roots of x square plus ax plus b is equal to 0 and that of the roots of x square plus bx plus a is equal to 0 is same and a is not equal to b, then we have to find that which of these equations satisfy the given both equations. So here the roots are not given. It is only given that the difference between the roots are equal. So in the first step, let x1 and x2 be the roots of the equation which is x square plus ax plus b is equal to 0. Therefore, the sum of roots will be x1 plus x2 will be minus of a, and the product of roots will be x1 into x2 will be b. Similarly, let y1 and y2 be the roots of another equation which is x square plus bx plus a is equal to 0. Therefore, the sum of root becomes y1 plus y2. Sum of roots is minus b upon a. So it will be minus b. And the product of roots is y1 into y2. It is c upon a. So it will be A. Now it is given that the difference is equal, means the difference of the roots is equal. So the difference of the roots will be x1 minus x2 is equal to y1 minus y2. Now squaring both the sides, it will be x1 plus x2 whole square minus 4x1 x2. It is equal to y1 plus y2 whole square minus 4y1 into y2. On further solving this, it will be, see, x1 plus x2 is minus a. So x1 plus x2 square will be a square minus 4. x1 into x2 is b. So 4 into b is equal to y1 plus y2 is minus of b. Minus of b square means b square minus 4 into y1 into y2. We know that y1 into y2 is a. So it will be 4 into a. Now, on further finding the factors for this equation, it will be a minus b into a plus b plus 4 is equal to 0. Therefore, a minus b will be equals to 0 or a plus b plus 4 will be equals to 0. These are the two possible conditions for the given question. So now let us see all the options. So among the options, we cannot find a minus b is equal to 0, but we can find another possible solution, which is a plus b plus 4 is equal to 0. So option number C is the correct option for this question. Next question is a very important question. It is a very basic question, but this kind of question always comes in the exam. The question is, for what values of a belongs to z, the quadratic expression. See, the expression is x plus a into x plus 1991 plus 1 can be factorized. We have to find its factor. So let this equation be equal to 0. If this is equal to 0, it means that x plus a into x plus 1991 will be equals to minus 1. Now there are two possibilities. For factors, we know that there are two factors. So either x plus a will be 1 or minus 1, or x plus 1991 will be minus 1 or 1. When x plus a is equal to 1, then x plus 1991 will be equal to minus 1. So let us check the first condition. If x plus a is equal to minus 1, then x plus 1991 will be equal to plus 1. From here, we can say that a is equal to minus 1 minus x. And from here, we will get the value for x. X will be equals to 1 minus 1991. So x will be equals to minus 1990. Now, putting the value of x in the left hand side here. So a will be equals to minus 1 minus of minus 1990. So a will be equals to minus 1 plus 1990. Therefore, a will be equals to 1989. This is the desired value of a. So we can say that the correct option here is 1989. Next question is, if a set A has m elements and the set B has n elements, then the number of injections from A to B is. In this question, we have to find the total number of possible combinations or permutations. So let A be a set which have m elements. So let A is equal to A1, A2, A3, so on up to Am. Let B be the another set which consists of n elements. So let B is equal to B1, B2, B3, so on up to Bn, where both m is less than or equal to n. Now it is given that there is a function such that A is to B be an injective mapping. See, we have to find the injection. So let this be an injective mapping. So for A1 belongs to A, we can write this. For A1 belongs to A, there are n possible choices. And there are n possible choices for f of A1 belongs to B. For this particular part, there are n possible choices. Similarly, for another element, which is A2. So for A2 belongs to A, there are total n minus 1 possible choices. See, if here there are n possible choices, then in the next element, there will be one choice less, which is n minus 1 possible choices. For f of A2 belongs to B. I hope this concept is clear to you. If one space is already occupied, then for the another element, there will be one space less. Now, similarly, for the last element, AM belongs to A, there will be n minus m minus 1 choices for f of AM belongs to B. So we can say that there are for first element, there is n possible choices. For second element, there is n minus 1 possible choices. For third element, there is n minus 2 possible choices up to for the last element, there are n minus m minus 1 possible choices. You can see that this is a series and we know that this is equal to n factorial upon n minus m whole factorial. So we can say that it forms permutation. So it will be equals to n factorial upon n minus m factorial will be equals to npm. Now, here we know that it is in the form of npm. So let us see the options. The option number B matches our answer, which is npm if n is greater than or equal to m. Here you can see that obviously n is greater than or equal to m because n is greater than, that is why we have written n minus m. So we can say that option number B is the correct answer for this question. Next question is from probability. In how many ways can the letters of the words multiple be arranged, keeping the position of the vowels fixed? See, we have a word which is multiple, M-U-L-T-I-P-L-E. In this words, we have to fix the position of vowels and we have to find that how many ways can the letters of these words be arranged, keeping the positions of all the vowels fixed. So firstly, we know that vowels are fixed here. We must arrange only the consonants. So the word multiple has 5 consonants. The 5 consonants are M, L, T, P, and again L. L is repeated here. So the total permutation for 5 consonant will be 5 factorial upon 2 factorial. Repeating L because you can see that L is repeated 2 times. So it will be equals to 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 factorial divided by 2 factorial. 2 factorial and 2 factorial will be cancelled. 5 into 4 into 3 will be 60. See, this is only for when we are counting the consonants and repeating the L. Similarly, if these words are replaced by another consonants, means consonants are replaced by another consonant, then there will be another possibility which is 5 factorial upon 2 factorial because we know that L is repeating again and all the consonant can be moved from one position to another. So again 5 factorial upon 2 factorial will be 60. So the possible ways for all the letters to be arranged will be 60 into 60, which is 360. So we can say that option number B is the correct option for this question. I hope it is clear to you. The questions for probability are very, very simple. Next question is the least value of n so that n minus 1 C3 plus n minus 1 C4 is greater than n C3. Here we have to use a very basic formula for the binomial expansion, which is NCR plus NCR minus 1 is equal to n plus 1 CR. On applying or using this formula, our term becomes n minus 1 C3 plus n minus 1 C4 is equal to NC4 greater than NC3. Now, On comparing both the n values and both the numbers, from here we can say that n will be greater than 4 plus 3, which is equal to 7. So we can say that n will be greater than 7. And we know that here n is a natural number. Therefore, the least possible value for n is 8. Since it is a natural number and it is greater than 7, so the least possible probability is 8. Therefore, we can say that the correct option is 8. So option number C is the correct option here. Next question is a natural number n such that n factorial ends in exactly 1000 zeros. It is a very, very interesting question. We have to find a number whose factorial ends in exactly 1000 zeros. See, there are two possible numbers, 5 and 10. When a number is divided by 5, then it is divisible by 5. So it leaves remainder 0 in most of the cases. So what we have to do is we just have to divide that number with 5. So, and see, here we are not taking 10 because in 10 already 1 0 exists. But we want a number without a 0. So let us divide all the options by 5. First option is 4010. When 4010 is divided by 5 for the first time, it gives 800. Again, when 800 is divided by 5, it gives 160. When 160 is divided by 5, it gives 32. When 32 is divided by 5, it gives 6. And when 6 is divided by 5, the quotient is 1. Now, what we have to do is we have to add all these terms. So on adding 800 plus 160 plus 32 plus 6 plus 1, we will get 999. But you can see that it is not equal to 1000. We have to look for exactly 1000 zeros. So first option is not correct. Now let us look at the second option. Second option is 4000. When 4000 is divided by 5 for the first time, the quotient is 802. When 802 is divided by 5, it gives 160. Similarly, when 160 is divided by 5, it gives 32. When 32 is divided by 5, it gives 6. And when 6 is divided by 5, it gives 1. You can see that all the terms are equal except for 800. In the place of 800, there is 802. Means the answer will be, or the sum will be 1001, which is also not equal to 1000. When you add all these values, the answer will be 1001. So it is also not correct. Now let us look at the third option, which is 4009. We have to again repeat the same steps, dividing this number by 5. So when 4009 is divided by 5, it gives 801. Then 801 divided by 5 gives 160. When 160 is divided by 5, it gives 32. When 32 is divided by 5, it gives 6. And when 6 is divided by 5, it gives 1. Now what we have to do is we have to add all these numbers like we are doing in all the steps. So on adding 801 plus 160 plus 32 plus 6 plus 1, we will get 1000. And this is the answer that we are looking for. We just have to look for exactly 1000 zeros, and we get 1000 zeros when the number is 4009. So we can say that the correct option is option number C here. This is a very, very simple trick to solve this question. There are many methods to solve this kind of question, but the simplest trick is to divide the number by 5 if you have to find exactly 1000 zeros. Next question is, if 13x plus 43 divided by 2x square plus 17x plus 30 is equal to a upon 2x plus 5 plus b upon x plus 6, then a square plus b square equal to. In order to get the value for a square plus b square, we have to find the value for a and b. So first, let us focus on the left hand side. You can see here there is an equation. So the equation is 2x square plus 17x plus 30. Now let us find the factors for this equation by splitting the middle term. So it will be 2x square plus 12x plus 5x plus 30. So taking 2x common, it will be x plus 6. Similarly, taking 5 common, it will be x plus 6. So we can say that x plus 6 and 2x plus 5 are the factors for this equation. Therefore, in the place of this equation, we can write x plus 6 into 2x plus 5. So replacing this value here, we will get 13x plus 43 divided by x plus 6 into 2x plus 5 is equal to a upon 2x plus 5 plus b upon x plus 6. Now you can see that the terms are equal here, x plus 6 and 2x plus 5. Here also x plus 6 and 2x plus 5. So let us take the LCM. So it becomes 13x plus 43 divided by x plus 6 into 2x plus 5 is equal to a into x plus 6 plus b into 2x plus 5 divided by the LCM, which is 2x plus 5 into x plus 6. See, this is the step on doing the LCM. The step is obtained by doing the LCM. Now, x plus 6 and 2x plus 5 will be cancelled. Here also 2x plus 5 and x plus 6 will be cancelled. So the remaining terms are 13x plus 43 is equal to a into x plus 6 plus b into 2x plus 5. Now, put x is equal to minus 6 here. We know that x plus 6 was equal to 0 since it was a factor. So from here, the value for x was minus 6. So when x is equal to minus 6, this equation becomes 13 into minus 6 plus 43 is equal to a into minus 6 plus 6 plus b into 2 into minus 6 plus 5. Now, on further solving this, it will be equals to minus 78 plus 43 is equal to 0 plus b into minus 12 plus 5. Minus 78 plus 43 is minus of 35. This is equal to minus of 7b. Minus 12 plus 5 is minus 7. So from here, we will get the value for b, which is 35 upon 7. This minus and minus will be also cancelled. So from here, we can say that b is equal to 5. Now we have the value for b. Now, put x is equal to minus 2. When we put x is equal to minus 2 in the equation, it becomes 13 into minus 2 plus 43 is equal to a into minus 2 plus 6 plus b into 2 into minus 2 plus 5. See, in this type of question, don't get confused with this term that the value of x is minus 2. What we have to do is, in the first term, we have to eliminate the a part. So in order to eliminate the a part, we have to think that if we put x is equal to minus 6 here, then it becomes 0. Similarly, now we have to eliminate the b part. So when we put 2 into minus 2 here, if we put minus 2 here, then the b becomes 1 because in bracket 2 into minus 2 plus 5 will be 1. And we already know the value for b here. That is why we have to transform this as only b. Means we have to eliminate this terms inside the bracket. So thinking of the terms, we have to put the values of x. So on further solving, it becomes minus 26 plus 43 is equal to a into 4 plus b into 1. Minus 26 plus 43 is 17. 17 is equal to 4a plus b. We know the value for b. B is equal to 5. So 17 is equal to 4a plus 5. So 4a will be equals to 17 minus 5. So 4a will be equals to 12 and a will be equals to 3. Now we have both the values. B is equal to 5 and a is equal to 3. We have to find a square plus b square. So a square will be 3 square and b square will be 5 square. So it will be 9 plus 25, which is equal to 34. So we can say that the correct answer for this question is 34. So option number C is the correct option for this question. Next question is, if a plus b plus c is equal to pi, cos B is equal to cos A into cos C, then tan A into tan C is equal to. It is given that A plus B plus C is equal to pi. So from here we can say that A plus C is equal to pi minus B. Now applying cos on both the sides, it will be cos A plus C is equal to cos pi minus B. Now applying the formula for cos A plus B, it will be cos A cos C minus sin A sin C. It is cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. Here A is equal to A and B is equal to C. This is equal to cos of pi minus B. We know that cos of pi minus theta is minus cos theta. So it will be minus cos B. On further solving, it can be written as, see, a value is given in the question which is cos A into cos C is cos B. So here cos A into cos C will become cos B minus of sin A sin C is equal to minus of cos B. So on further solving, it becomes 2 cos B upon cos B is equal to sin A into sin C divided by cos A into cos C. So this will be cancelled. Cos B and cos B will be cancelled. So 2 will be equals to sin A upon cos A is tan A and sin C upon cos C is tan C. So tan A into tan C will be equals to 2. Therefore, we can say that the value for tan A into tan C is 2. So option number C is the correct option here. Next question is, in a triangle ABC, tan A by 2 into tan B by 2 into tan C by 2 whole square is less than or equal to. We know that in a triangle ABC, the sum of all the angles, which is A plus B plus C, is equal to 180 degree. If the sum is 180 degree, means one angle will be of 60 degree. So we can say that A is equal to 60 degree, B is equal to 60 degree, and C is equal to 60 degree. Now we have to find the value for A by 2. A by 2 means 60 by 2, which is 30 degree. Similarly, B by 2 will be also 30 degree and C by 2 will be also 30 degree. Now we have to find the value for tan A by 2 into tan B by 2 into tan C by 2 whole square. So putting the value of A by 2, B by 2 and C by 2, it becomes tan 30 into tan 30 into tan 30, and there is degree whole square. We know the value for tan 30, it is 1 upon root 3 into 1 upon root 3 into 1 upon root 3 whole square. So this will be equals to 1 upon 3 root 3 whole square. So on opening the square, it will be 1 upon 3 root 3 into 1 upon 3 root 3, which will be equals to 1 upon 3 into 3 is 9, and 9 into 3 will be 27, because we know that root 3 into root 3 is also 3. So 1 upon 9 into 3 is 1 upon 27. So this is the value for the given term. Therefore, we can say that the correct answer is option number A here, which is 1 upon 27. Next question is, the value of tan 7 pi by 8 is. We have to find the value for tan 7 pi by 8. Let tan theta by 2 is equal to tan 7 pi by 8. So theta by 2 will be equals to 7 pi by 8. And from here we can say that theta will be equals to 7 pi by 4. Now we have the value of theta. Now we have to use the half angle identity of tangent function. By using the half angle identity of tangent function, this becomes tan theta by 2 is equal to sin theta upon 1 plus cos theta. So theta by 2 is equal to 7 pi by 8. So tan 7 pi by 8 will be equals to sine, again theta is 7 pi by 4. So 7 pi by 4 divided by 1 plus cos 7 pi by 4. We have just substituted the values here. So in this way, tan 7 pi by 8 will be equals to sine. See, 7 pi by 4 can be written as 2 pi minus pi by 4 divided by 1 plus cos 2 pi minus pi by 4. Let this be equation number 1. Now, by using the trigonometry formula, we know that sine A minus B is equal to sine A cos B minus cos A sin B. And we also know that cos A minus B is equal to cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. By using this trigonometric formula in the right hand side of the equation number 1, we get, see, there is sin A minus B and cos A minus B. So we are solving the right hand side. So on the right hand side, it will be sin 2 pi into cos pi by 4 minus cos 2 pi into sin pi by 4 divided by 1 plus cos 2 pi into cos pi by 4 plus sin 2 pi into sin pi by 4. We have used the formula. Now we have to put the values. Sin 2 pi will be 0 into 1 upon root 2 minus 1 into root 2 divided by 1 plus cos 2 pi is also 1 into cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2 plus sin 2 pi is 0 into sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. On further solving this, 0 into 1 by root 2 will be 0. So minus 1 upon root 2 divided by 1 plus 1 by root 2 plus 0. Now we have to rationalize the above expression. On rationalizing the above expression, we get minus 1 upon under root 2 plus 1 into under root 2 minus 1 divided by under root 2 minus 1. So on rationalizing, this becomes minus 1 into under root 2 minus 1 divided by 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1 minus root 2. Therefore, this is the desired value of tan 7 pi by 8. So from all the given options, option number B is correct, which is 1 minus root 2. Next question is also from trigonometry. The question is 1 plus sec square x into sin square x. Now it can be written as 1 plus sec x square into sin x square, or we can also write it as 1 plus sec x into sin x whole square. We know that sec x is 1 by cos x. So 1 plus 1 by cos x into sin x whole square. Now it can be written as 1 plus sin x divided by cos x whole square, which will be equals to 1 plus sin x square divided by cos of x square. Now we have to take the LCM. So on taking the LCM, this term will be cos x square plus sine of x square divided by the LCM, which is cos of x square. We know that cos x square plus sine x square is 1, or we can say that cos square x plus sine square x is equal to 1. So the numerator becomes 1 and the denominator is cos of x square. And we know that 1 upon cos of x square is sec of x square, and it can be also written as sec square x. So this is the desired value for the given question. So we can say that option number D is the correct option for this question. Next question is, in a triangle ABC, 2 into BC cos A plus AC cos B plus AB cos C is equal to. We have to find the value for this trigonometric expression. In this question, we have to use the cosine rule. So by using the cosine rule, cos A will be equals to B square plus C square minus A square divided by 2BC. Similarly, cos B will be equal to C square plus A square minus B square divided by 2CA, and cos C will be equals to A square plus B square minus C square divided by 2 into A into B. Now we have to put all this value in the given trigonometric expression. So it becomes 2 into BC into cos A. Cos A is B square plus C square minus A square divided by 2BC plus AC into cos B. Cos B is C square plus A square minus B square divided by 2CA plus AB into cos C. Cos C is A square plus B square minus C square divided by 2AB. On further solving this, here BC and BC will be cancelled, AC and AC will be cancelled, and AB and AB will be cancelled. So it will be 2 into B square plus C square minus A square divided by 2 plus C square plus A square minus B square divided by 2 and plus A square plus B square minus C square divided by 2. Now again, taking 2 common, it becomes 2 into C square plus A square plus B square divided by 2. And this 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So the remaining terms will be A square plus B square plus C square. This is the required value for the given expression. So we can say that the correct option is option number C here. Next question is also from trigonometry, and the question is, if 4 plus 6 into e to the power 2x plus 1 into tan hx is equal to 11 cos hx plus 11 sin hx, then x is equal to. We have to find the value for x here. So here, let sin hx is equal to e to the power x minus e to the power minus 6 upon 2. And let cos hx is equal to e to the power x plus e to the power minus x divided by 2. Therefore, tan hx will be equals to sin hx upon cos hx, which is e to the power x minus e to the power minus x divided by e to the power x plus e to the power minus x. 2 and 2 will be cancelled on division. Now, dividing this whole term by e to the power minus x, we will get e to the power x divided by e to the power minus x minus e to the power minus x divided by e to the power minus x. Now the denominator, e to the power x divided by e to the power minus x plus e to the power minus x divided by e to the power minus x. On solving, this becomes e to the power 2x minus 1 divided by e to the power 2x plus 1. Now, let us see the LHS part. LHS part is 4 plus 6 into e to the power 2x plus 1 into tan hx. We have the value for tan hx. So putting the value here, it will be 4 plus 6 into e to the power 2x plus 1 into e to the power 2x minus 1 divided by e to the power 2x plus 1. So e to the power 2x plus 1 and e to the power 2x plus 1 will be cancelled. So the remaining term is 4 plus 6 into e to the power 2x minus 1. This is the left hand side. Now let us see the right hand side. Right hand side is 11 cos hx plus 11 sin hx. So 4 plus 6 into e to the power 2x minus 1 will be equal to the right hand side, which is 11 into cos of hx plus sin of hx. Now we have to put the value for cos hx and sin hx here. So it will be 11 into e to the power x minus e to the power minus x divided by 2 plus e to the power x plus e to the power minus x divided by 2. On further solving, this will be equals to 11 into e to the power x minus e to the power minus x plus e to the power x plus e to the power minus x whole divided by 2. From here, e to the power minus x and e to the power minus x will be cancelled. So this term becomes 11 into 2 e to the power x divided by 2. Again, 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So this will be equals to 11 into e to the power x. Therefore, we can write that 4 plus 6 into e to the power 2x minus 1 is equal to 11 into e to the power x. On further solving this, it becomes 4 plus 6 e to the power 2x minus 6 is equal to 11 into e to the power x. Now taking all the terms on one side, it will be 6 into e to the power 2x minus 11 e power x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now let e to the power x is equal to t. If e to the power x is equal to t, then the equation becomes 6 into t square minus 11t minus 2 is equal to 0. Now what we have to do is we have to find the factors for this equation by splitting the middle term. So it can be written as 6t square minus 12t plus t minus 2 is equal to 0. Taking 6t common, it will be t minus 2. Again taking plus 1 common, it will be t minus 2 is equal to 0. Now t minus 2 is common, so it will be written as t minus 2 and the remaining factor is 6t plus 1, it is equal to 0. Now we can have two values for t. So both the factors will be t minus 2 is equal to 0. See, this is the first factor. So from here we can put the value for t. We know that t is equal to e to the power x. So it will be e to the power x minus 2 is equal to 0. So e to the power x will be equals to 2. Now it can be written as x is equal to log 2. So we can say that the value for x is log 2. So the correct option for this question is log 2, which is option number D here. Next question is, in a triangle ABC, A by B is equal to 2 plus root 3 and angle C is equal to 60 degree. Then the measure of angle A is. We know that there is a very basic concept that sum of all the angles of triangle is 180 degree. So we can write angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180 degree. We know the measure of angle C. So we can write angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degree minus angle C. Therefore, angle A plus angle B will be equals to 180 degree minus 60 degree because angle C is 60. So this will be 120 degree. Now it is given that A by B is equal to 2 plus under root of 3. Now we have to use the sine rule here. By using the sine rule, A by sine A is equal to B by sine B is equal to C by sine C. Now, taking the first term, which is A by sine A and second term which is b by sine b. From both these terms, a by b will be equals to sine a upon sine b. So a by b is equal to sine a upon sine b. Now what we have to do is we have to subtract 1 in the numerator and we have to add 1 in the denominator. So it becomes a by b minus 1 divided by a by b plus 1 is equal to sine a upon sine b minus 1 divided by sine a upon sine b plus 1. On further taking the LCM, it becomes a by b minus 1 divided by a by b plus 1 is equal to sine a minus sine b divided by sine a plus sine b. The denominator, which is sine b and sine b, will be cancelled. Now we have to put the value for a by b. It is given in the question that a by b is 2 plus root 3. So this becomes 2 plus root 3 minus 1 divided by 2 plus root 3 plus 1. It is equal to, we have to apply the formula for sine a minus sine b. So it becomes 2 sine a minus b upon 2 into cos a plus b upon 2 divided by sine a plus sine b. The formula for sine a plus sine b is 2 sine a plus b by 2 into cos a minus b by 2. We have applied the formula here. This 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So it becomes 2 plus root 3 minus 1 is 1 plus root 3 divided by 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 plus root 3. It will be equals to tan a minus b divided by 2 into cot a plus b divided by 2. Now we have to put the value here. So it will be tan a minus b divided by 2 into cot a plus b by 2. We know that a plus b is 120 degree. So 120 upon 2 is 60. So it will be cot 60 degree. Now the LHS is 1 plus root 3 divided by 3 plus root 3. This is equal to tan of a minus b by 2 into cot of 60 degree. So cot of 60 is 1 by root 3. Now we have to equate both the terms. So 1 by root 3 will be equals to tan of a minus b upon 2 into 1 by root 3. So from here, you can see that in both the sides, there is 1 by root 3. So 1 by root 3 and 1 by root 3 will be cancelled. So the terms will be a minus b upon 2 is equal to 45. We can say that a minus b upon 2 is 45. So from here, we can get the value for a minus b. A minus b will be 2 into 45, which is 90 degree. And we know that a plus b is 120 degree. So on solving both this equation, we get angle A is equal to 105 degree. So we can say that the measure of angle A is 105 degree. So option number C is the correct option for this question. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is, if A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3 and C is equal to 4 in a triangle ABC, then cos C is equal to. First, let us make the required diagram for this question. It is given that there is a triangle. So let this be the triangle A, B and C. We know that the opposite side for capital A will be A. So A is equal to 2. Similarly, B is equal to 3 and C is equal to 4. These are the sides which are given in the question. We have to use the cosine rule here. So by applying cosine rule, we know that cos C will be equals to A square plus B square minus C square divided by 2AB. This is the cosine rule. Now putting the value for a, b and c here, a square will be 2 square, which is 4, plus b square is 3 square, which is 9, minus c square will be 4 square. So it will be 16 divided by 2 into a into b. So it will be 2 into 2 into 3. On further solving, it will be minus 3 upon 12, which gives minus 1 upon 4. So the value for cos C is minus 1 upon 4. See, in this question, all you have to do is you have to use the cosine rule. So the correct option is option number B here. Next question is, in a triangle ABC, B plus C cos A plus C plus A cos B plus A plus B into cos C is equal to. We have to find the value for this expression. So first let us multiply and open the brackets. So this becomes B cos A plus C cos A plus C cos B plus A cos B plus A cos C plus B cos C. Now, putting the same variables together, it will be B cos C plus C cos B plus C cos A plus A cos C plus A cos B plus B cos A. Now, let this be equation number 1. We have to use the projection formula here. By using the projection formula, A will be equals to B cos C plus C cos B. Similarly, by using the projection formula, B will be equals to C cos A plus A cos C, and C will be equals to A cos B plus B cos A. We have the value for these three terms. So substituting the above values in equation 1, then we will get A plus B plus C. Therefore, we can say that B plus C cos A plus C plus A cos B plus A plus B cos C is equal to A plus B plus C. This is the required value for the given question. Therefore, we can say that option C is the correct option for this question. Next question is, OABC is a tetrahedron if D and E are the midpoints of OA and BC respectively, then DE is equal to. So first let us do the required diagram, which is a tetrahedron. It is given that OABC is a tetrahedron. Let this be a triangle ABC and let O be the center for this triangle. Since it is a tetrahedron, so we have to join every point with the center. And it is also given that D is the midpoint of OA and E is the midpoint of BC. So let this point be D here. We know that A will be A vector, B will be B vector, and C will be C vector. This is a tetrahedron OABC. We know that OA vector is equal to A vector, OB vector is equal to B vector, and OC vector is equal to C vector. So D vector will be equals to A vector by 2. Also, OD vector will be equals to A vector by 2. Since D is the midpoint of OA. Now, similarly, E vector will be equal to B vector plus C vector upon 2 because E is the midpoint for BC. So let this be a point E. You can see that it is a midpoint for BC. So we can say that OE vector will also be equal to B vector plus C vector upon 2. We have to find a DE vector. So as you can see in the figure, DE vector will be equals to OE vector minus OD vector. Putting the values, we will get B vector plus C vector divided by 2 minus A vector by 2. So it will be B vector plus C vector minus A vector divided by 2. Taking 1 by 2 common, this will become B vector plus C vector minus A vector. Now we know that B vector is equal to OB vector and C vector is equal to OC vector and A vector is equal to OA vector. So putting the values, it will be half of OB vector plus OC vector minus OA vector. This is the required value for the given question. Therefore, we can say that out of all the given options, option number D is the correct option here. Next question is a very, very interesting question. It is given that if A vector plus B vector plus C vector is equal to 0 and mode of A vector is equal to 7, mode of B vector is equal to 5 and mode of C vector is equal to 3, then the angle between B and C is, we know that B vector plus C vector will be equals to minus of A vector. Therefore, modulus of B vector whole square plus modulus of C vector whole square plus 2 B vector into C vector will be modulus of A vector whole square. In this step, we have put squares on both the sides. So we can say that on squaring both the sides, this is the desired equation. Now, on further putting the values for mode of B and mode of C, this will be 5 square plus 3 square plus 2 into B vector into C vector will be equals to 7 square. So 2 into B vector into C vector will be equals to 49 minus 34. You know that 5 square is 25 and 3 square is 9. 25 plus 9 is 34. So from here, we can get the value for B vector into C vector, which will be 49 minus 34 will be 15 by 2. This 2 will come to the right hand side. So we can also say that B vector dot C vector is equal to half into 15. Now we have to find the angle between B and C. So putting cos theta here. So B vector into C vector cos theta is equal to cos 1 by 2 into 15. So theta will be equals to 60 degree because we know that cos 60 is 1 by 2. So this is the angle between B and C. Therefore, we can say that option C is the correct option here. Next question is, if P and Q are 2 points on the curve y is equal to 2 power x plus 2 in the rectangular Cartesian coordinate system such that OP vector into I vector is equal to minus 1. The value is OP vector dot I vector is equal to minus 1. And OQ vector into I vector is equal to 2. Then OQ minus 4OP is equal to. The values are given here. The first value is OP into I is equal to minus 1. So from here we can say that Px will be minus 1 and P lies on the given curve y is equal to 2 power x plus 2. This curve can be further written as y is equal to 2 power minus 1 plus 2 because P of x is minus 1. So y will be equals to 2. We have the points Px and Py which is equal to minus 1 comma 2. Now, another part is OQ vector into I is equal to 2. From here, we can say that QX will be equals to 2 and Q lies on the curve y is equal to 2 power x plus 2. Now, putting the value here for x is equal to 2, it becomes y is equal to 2 power 2 plus 2. So, y will be equals to 2 power 4, which is 16. Now we have two more points, which is qx comma qy. And the points are 2 comma 16. Now we have to find OQ vector. So OQ vector will be equals to 2i plus 16j. We have the points for x and y. Similarly, OP vector will be equals to minus I plus 2j. This is the value for OQ and OP. In the question, we have to find OQ minus 4OP. So putting the values, we will get 2i plus 16j plus 4i minus 8j. This will be equals to 6i plus 8j. Therefore, we can say that the value for OQ minus 4OP is 6i plus 8j. Therefore, option C is the correct option for this question. Next question is, if the equation of the plane passing through the point A minus 2, 1, 3 and perpendicular to the vector 3i plus j plus 5k is ax plus by plus cz plus d is equal to 0, then a plus b by c plus d is equal to. It is given that the plane passes through the point minus 2, 1 and 3 and it is perpendicular to the given vector 3i plus j plus 5k. And the equation of the plane is ax plus by plus cz plus d is equal to 0. Since it passes through the point minus 2, 1 and 3, so equation will be 3x plus y plus 5z is equal to minus t. It passes through the point minus 2, 1 and 3. Now, from this equation, we can say that 3x plus y plus 5z is equal to minus d. So putting the value of the point, which is minus 2, 1 and 3 here, we will get 3 into minus 2 plus 1 plus 5 into 3 is equal to minus d, which is equal to minus 6 plus 1 plus 15 is equal to minus d. Therefore, d will be equals to minus 10. We have the value for d here. So we have to find now a plus b upon c plus d. So a plus b will be 3 plus 1 upon c is 5 minus 10. On further solving this, it will be 4 upon minus 5, which will be equals to minus 5 upon minus 4 upon 5. Minus will come to the numerator. So the value of a plus b upon c plus d is minus 4 by 5. I hope that this step is clear to you. It is given that the equation passes through the point. If the equation passes through the point, it means that the equation should also satisfy the points. That is why we have kept the value of x, y, z in the given equation. So the correct option for this question is option number D, minus 4 upon 5. Next question is, if the mean of the data P into 6, 6.7, 8, 11, 15 and 16 is 3 times P, then the mean deviation of the data from its mean is. The data is given, which is 6P, 6.7, 8, 11, 15 and 16. Total number of items is 6. So we can say that n is equal to 6. We know that mean is sum of all the observations upon total number of observations. So mean will be x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus x5 plus x6 divided by total number of observation, which is 6. and it is given that the mean is 3 times p, means it is equal to 3p. Now, let us put the values here. So, mean will be 6p plus 6.7 plus 8 plus 11 plus 15 plus 16 divided by 6 is equal to 3p. So, on adding all this value, it will be 6p plus 56.7 is equal to 6 into 3p is 18p. Now, 56.7 will be equals to 12p. 18 minus 6 is 12. So, p will be equals to 56.7 upon 12. On further dividing, p will be equals to 4.725. This is the value for p. Now, let us find the value for the mean. Mean is 3 times p. Therefore, 3 times p will be equals to 3 into p. So, 3 into 4.725 will be equal to 14.175. This is the value for mean, but we have to find the mean deviation about mean. So, mean deviation about mean is represented as 1 upon n summation of xi minus mean. So, total number of items is 6. So, 1 by 6 into summation of xi minus mean. Xi means the first term. First term is 6p minus 14.175 plus 6.7 minus 14.175 plus 8 minus 14.175 plus 11 minus 14.175 plus 15 minus 14.175 plus 16 minus 14.175. On calculating all these values, it will be equals to 1 by 6 into 16 into p will be 16 into 4.725, which is 28.25. 28.25 minus 14.175 plus 6.7 minus 14.175 plus 8 minus 14.175 plus 11 minus 14.175 plus 15 minus 14.175 and plus 16 minus 14.175. On further subtracting, it will be 1 by 6 into 14.075 plus 7.475 plus 6.175 plus 3.175 plus 0.825 plus 1.825. On adding all these values and dividing by 6, we will get 3.75. So we can say that the required mean deviation about mean is 3.75. So option number B is the correct option for the given question. Next question is, in a box, there are 8 red, 7 blue and 6 green balls. One ball is picked randomly. The probability that it is neither red nor green is. This is a question that comes from probability and it is a very, very simple question. It is given that there are 8 red balls and there are 7 blue balls and there are 6 green balls. So total number of balls is 8 plus 7 plus 6, which is 21. This is the total number of balls. We have to find that probability of the ball is neither red nor green. Means we do not want the red ball and we do not want the green ball. Means we do not want 8 plus 6, which is 14 balls. So we only want the blue ones. So out of 21, if we eliminate these 14 balls, then the number of chances are 7 and the total number of balls is 21. So probability of neither red nor green will be equals to 7 upon 21, which is equal to 1 by 3. So the correct option is option number A here, which is 1 by 3. Moving on to next question. Next question is a very, very interesting question. For two events A and B, a true statement among the following is. It is a question that comes from set and we have to use various properties to prove the statements. We know that A bar union B bar can be written as A intersection B whole bar. And we also know that P of A intersection B whole bar will be equals to 1 minus P of A intersection B. And 1 minus P of A intersection B can be written as P of A bar union B bar. Now, P of A intersection B can be written in two ways. There are two ways to write it. The first way is P of A into P of B by A. And second way is P of B into P of A by B. So, according to the question, we will choose an option and we will write P of A intersection B whole bar is equal to P of A into P of B upon A. We have chosen this particular part here. We know that P of A intersection B whole bar is equal to A bar union B bar. So replacing the values in this equation, we will get A bar union B bar is equal to 1 minus P of A into P of B by A. Therefore, let us check all the options. From all the options, the correct option will be option number A, which is P of A bar union B bar is equal to 1 minus P of A into P of B upon A. Next question is 5 digits numbers are formed by using the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 without repetition. It is very important. It is given that without repetition. Then the probability that the randomly chosen number is divisible by 4 is. It is a question that comes from probability. A number which is divisible by 4 formed using the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 should have the last two digits 12, 24, 32 or 52. In each of these cases, the 5-digit numbers can be formed using the remaining 3 digits. So, the remaining 3 digits will be 3 factorial, which is in 6 ways. I hope this step is clear to you. We have 4 possible cases. So, in each of these cases, the 5-digit number can be formed using the remaining 3 digits. So, 3 digits will be 3 factorial, which will be 6 ways. So, number divisible by 4 can be formed in 6 into 4 ways, which is 24 ways. Now, the total number of 5-digit numbers that can be formed using the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 without repetition. It is clearly given that there are 5 digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we have to find the 5-digit numbers that can be formed without repetition. So, one digit will come once only. So, the number will be 5 factorial, and 5 factorial is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is equal to 120. Therefore, the required probability will be equals to total number of possible ways, which is 24, upon the total number of ways, which is 120, or total number of digits. So, 24 upon 120 can be 1 upon 5. So we can say that the required probability is 1 by 5. Therefore, option number A is the correct option for this question. Next question is, a manager decides to distribute rupees 20,000 between two employees X and Y. Total amount is 20,000. He knows X deserves more than Y, but does not know how much more. So he decides to arbitrarily break rupees 20,000 into two parts and gives X the bigger part. Then the chance that X gets twice as much as Y or more is. It is clearly given in the question that X gets the bigger part. So we can say that bigger part will be 19,999 to 10,001, and the smaller part or the small part will be 9,999 to 1. But we know that the bigger part of x, we know that bigger part is obviously for x because x gets more, is greater than or equal to 2 smaller part of y. Yes, we can say that it can be greater than or equal to 2 smaller part of y. Also, we know that bigger plus smaller, both parts are equal to 20,000 because the total amount is 20,000 here. Therefore, on adding both these values means on adding bigger plus bigger by 2. See, the probability is that y can get less also. So bigger plus bigger by 2 will be greater than or equal to 20,000. X can get half or more than half. So for half it is bigger by 2 and for more than half it is bigger. So on taking the LCM, it will be 3 bigger is greater than or equal to 40,000. So 2 will be multiplied on the right hand side. So we can say that bigger will be greater than or equal to 40,000 divided by 3. This is the correct value for the bigger part. On further dividing this, we will get 1, 3, 3, 3, 3 and so on. Now the total number for the bigger part is 19,999. 19,999 minus 13333 is equal to 666 and 6. Now we have to find the required probability. So required probability will be equals to 6666 divided by the portion for the smaller part. For smaller part, it is 9,999. So it will be divided by 9,999. So by the table for 3, it will be 2 by 3. So the required probability is 2 by 3. Therefore, we can say that the correct option is option number D here. Next question is a very, very simple question. Which of the following is not a property of binomial distribution? So let us read all the options. First option is random experiment consists of a sequence of n identical trials. Yes, this is a probability. And this is a property of binomial distribution. Second option is each outcome can be referred to as a success or failure. Yes, the outcomes can be either a success or failures. This is also correct. The probabilities of the two outcomes can change from one trial to the next. See, statement C is not correct. According to the binomial distribution, the probabilities of any two outcomes can not change from one trial to another. So we can say that option C is not correct. Therefore, we have to say that this is a property which is incorrect. So the correct option here is option number C. I hope it is clear to you. If you know all the basic properties of binomial distribution, you can easily take the answer for this question. This question does not require a pen to solve it. Next question is, in a binomial distribution B n comma p, if the mean and the variance are 15 and 10 respectively, then the value of parameter n is. It is given that the mean is 15 and mean means n into p. So n into p is 15. And it is also given that the variance is n into p into q. So the variance is given which is 10. These are the values. In order to find the value of n, let us multiply both this and take np common. So when we take np common, the remaining terms will be 1 minus p is equal to 10. So putting the value of np here, which is 15, 15 into 1 minus p is equal to 10. So from here we can say that 1 minus p is equal to 2 by 3. And from here we can get the value for p. P will be equals to 1 minus 2 by 3. So p will be equals to 1 by 3. We have to find the value for n. Therefore, we will use the equation np is equal to 15. So n into 1 by 3 will be equal to 15. So n will be equal to 15 into 3. which is equal to 45. So the required value of n is 45. Therefore, option number C is the correct option here. I hope all these questions are clear to you and all the basic concepts are also clear to you. Keep learning more and keep scoring high.